It is a quiet night as everyone in Dreamland sleeps. However, a looming threat comes over a peaceful flock of sheep, and it's a generic octopus monster. Starting this Kirby anime ad for Nightmare in Dreamland off right by not showing us one character from the games in the opening scene. Oh, and then we see the sheep fearing for their lives, and the farmer, a shepherd or whatever, comes out only to be covered in the assumably still moist bones of every sheep he's ever taken care of. Then the octopus fucks off to this castle. Fucking Kirby right back at you, everyone. Have fun, kids. We see Kirby being whisked through the stars on a star-shaped ship, because he's trying to blend in. The lazy bastard's asleep until an alarm goes off, then he goes into the opening of Doctor Who is what I think I'm referencing here. Then he's taken to more space, which is totally different from the space he was looking at before. But enough of the main character and the reason children are watching, let's look at these fucking OCs. King Dedede is having his 2 a.m. dinner, I guess, when the farmer and some of these other minor enemies come to complain and hopefully get compensation for the years of therapy they need after watching a giant fucking octopus strip the flesh off of their animal skeletons, then being covered in said skeletons. Look, I know the Kirby games can get pretty violent, but they overlay it with pastel colors and cutesiness that is severely lacking here. Also, this shit never happened. I think the most gruesome thing I've seen in Kirby is Marx's corpse floating in space, but he came back, so it's fine. Speaking of which, why isn't Marx in this show? Okay, anyway, these 2 annoying fucks named Tiff and Tuff run up to Paul Lynn the Snail, and yes, I'm using the English dub because that's the one I'm familiar with, and I'm bad with subtitles due to my shitty fucking ADD. Occasionally, yes, I will touch on things that the original did different if I feel it's worth it, but in general, I'm sticking to this sweet, sweet 4Kids dubbing. So as Cargoon is mad at annoying and even more annoying and advocates for child abuse,
your parents should slap you silly.
Again, we're off to a great start. And Tiff's like, something weird is happening, Dad. And her dad's like, yes, I do believe you're correct that an octopus flying around and eating livestock is rather odd. So they realize this is King Dedede's fault, since most problems in Dreamland historically are. And Dedede, who is like the southern governor type, is like, now I might be just an old-fashioned penguin king, but I do declare that this octopus that I am now specifically pointing out to you that you didn't notice before is not the octopus monster that you were all complaining about. So Dedede gaslights them, Tiff makes this face, and the octopus reacts to Tiff about as well as I do. Seriously, we could have had anyone from the game be in her role, like Adeline, or Ribbon, or, I don't know, Marx. He's a villain in the game, but this show sure wouldn't give a fuck about changing a villain to an ally. So everyone in Dreamland goes to consult with the giant, omniscient, mystical, painfully minor enemy from the game that has a weirdly important part now, Kaboo. And he's like, what the fuck do you all want? We want to know why this role wasn't given to a more fitting character, like Nova or something. Would you just shut the fuck up with your useless nerd rage, you entitled gamer fucks? Okay, they actually ask him about the sheep thing, what they should do, vent about the terrible leadership in their country. Suddenly this is becoming relatable. But where's the monster? How do we make it stop? Kaboo's like, the monster's here, Dedede did it, Dreamland's fucked. Oh, thanks for telling us some completely new information, you fucking minor enemy piece of shit. Also, he says that there's nothing they can do. This was a productive town meeting. I'm glad we got this accomplished. He tells them that their one hope is a person who is a Star Warrior named Kirby. And you know what? I'm not gonna nerd rage about this. There being a group of people called Star Warriors who have special powers that can take down these nightmare monsters is a cool addition I actually like. It adds a narrative to a very narrativeless universe. I could see it fitting into the games, but it's only in the anime, which only resembles the games when it feels like. So Tiff imagines Kirby to be her anime husbando, then King Dedede is mad at Kaboo for giving them this top secret, totally not easily figured out information, and says there's no such person as Kirby except for all those people named Kirby. Then just as Dedede is about to destroy a sacred monument because he's a tyrant who has no respect for the country he rules or the things and people in it. Oh holy shit, it's Kirby, what are the odds? So, Dedede thinks he's an invading alien and immediately tries to kill him. They figure out it's Kirby and are horrified that this thing that in no way resembles an anime husbando is a warrior that's supposed to save them. Then Dedede just punts him into a fucking valley because attacking baby aliens is a great way to get your approval ratings up. And everyone's like, how come we're animated traditionally and you're in this weird limited CGI? It really makes you stand out in a bad way. I don't like it. But Dedede tells them that this thing that literally just got here must be the thing eating the sheep, even though there's nothing yet to suggest that. So the greatest parents in the world let their two children climb down an unstable chasm to find Kirby. No equipment or adult supervision or anything. Amazing. Surprise, Tiff falls, but Kirby can fly, so it's cool. Come on, Kirby. No one would know. So Tuff gets down there with just no problem, apparently. Just hops down like it's nothing. So Lololo and La La La, who are named Fololo and Falala, for reasons the internet is just not telling me other than fucking 4 kids. But I don't know, maybe it's like a copyright problem with the Adventures of Lolo game that they started, and I don't know. Anyway, so Lolo and Lala say, oh my god, I went on a tangent, it made me forget what I just watched. They suggest that, hey, maybe Kirby is a Star Warrior. You know, that thing that the all-knowing, oversized minor enemy told us. And Tiff's like, nah, that fucker lied. Warriors are pretty boys with mussed-up blonde hair that I can buy figurines of at cons and not do anything weird with them, of course. Not cute and puffy. Okay. I know he hasn't been introduced yet, but Tiff is acquainted with Meta Knight. Granted, Meta Knight has a fucking sexy voice and has that mask, but he's also a ball person that's barely 2 feet tall, and he's a badass warrior. Come to think of it, why isn't Meta Knight doing shit about this monster problem? I'm sure the comment section will actually me to death for asking that, so let's end this tirade. So Kirby CG floats himself to the top of this cliff and looks at the view of Dreamland is like, this barely resembles my game at all. Where the fuck are the yellow blocks and the key monkeys and the cliche ice world? So Lala's like,
this is Cappy Town, and the people are called Cappies.
oh, so this is the Kirby equivalent of Ponyville. Also, that's just a weird line. This is Norwegianville. The people are called Norwegians. Why am I questioning things? So Tiff brags about being some rich bitch who lives in the castle, and Kirby's voice changes surprisingly once he has to say dub names.
Kirby! Kirby! Tiff!
Then Rompin' Rowdy Dedede comes to fuck shit up some more and runs Kirby over with his tank, and in the interest of the video not being a millennia long, let's skip to the dinner party. So they're having this dinner party, and surprise, Kirby fucks it up and eats everything. It's like, guys, you just watched him swallow a watermelon whole like a snake eating a rat. You do not have my permission to be that surprised. Also, what he swallowed appeared to include an entire bottle of wine. Someone might want to take him to a hospital. So they just get unreasonably pissed at this toddler, despite Tiff previously stating that he has no idea what they're saying.
Kirby doesn't understand what you're saying anyway.
So why would he know that you're yelling? Then Kirby fucks off, because it's like toddlers don't like being yelled at or something. They find him in the decimated pile of sheep bones and now have a reason to think that maybe he did it, unlike earlier, except wait, at least a few of them know that it was an octopus and Kirby just got here this morning. You all saw it. So they try to help Kirby out, saying they can send him to a nice rehabilitation center, but then they're interrupted by Sword and Blade Knight just busting down the door, like, wasn't even locked, guys. Anyway, these are Meta Knight's lackeys, Sword Knight and Blade Knight, who are actually characters from the game that make some amount of sense as henchmen for Meta Knight, even though you could have just plucked anybody from his halberd team, but why nerd rage when I'm not even mad? I haven't played Superstar in a while, so I'll just assume they were there somewhere. Here's the thing about them, though. Sword Knight, you're fine. You're lovely. You're doing a great job, sweetie. Blade Knight, what the fuck is up with the way you talk? It's like Dreamland's Boomhauer.
This is what I said, a king.
Dangle, we're looking for Dangle Kirby, man, I'll tell you what, man. This is not like this in the original, and I know I said I wasn't going by the original, but I can't figure out the thought process behind this creative choice, but that doesn't matter, because then the objectively best character in the show comes forward at last. And fuck anyone who has ever complained about Spanish accent Meta Knight. It is a beautiful and valid interpretation of this character. Anyway, Meta Knight comes in and really wants to stab the shit out of Tiff, and no one in the room even attempts to stop him. But Tiff moves out of the way and Meta Knight finds Kirby and just... What if Tiff just didn't move there? Would Meta Knight go down for murder? But no, he finds Kirby and is severely disappointed to find that he's rendered in clunky CGI instead of being hand-drawn, and Meta Knight has, like, these mood-ring eyes, like most OCs made by 5th graders. Then he just leaves because he can't stand to be in the same room as Tiff anymore. But Tiff and Tuff beg Meta Knight not to tell DDD about Kirby, even though DDD already knows about Kirby, and Meta's like, "The king is not the problem, we need to find the real monster." And Tiff's like, you know, some of the Cappies are saying they saw a giant octopus. Well, DDD's pet octopus looked at me with these evil green Satan eyes. Does that help? Oh, well, there we go. Problem solved. That wasn't such a chore. And then Kirby's pissed because DDD and Escargoon are touching his car and DDD stole his backup car. Then DDD's pissed because he ordered this octopus monster and it's not even being a monster except all those complaints he heard about an octopus monster. So the Nightmare Enterprises salesman with the jawline that just will not quit assures DDD that the octopus he ordered is probably the octopus that the one Cappy complained ate to sheep. Could be a different one, though. There's a lot of them this time of season. Then DDD looks at it again and is surprised the octopus monster he ordered is actually an octopus monster. You get it. But I guess the octopus makes DDD evil, and he starts to beat the shit out of Kirby, so that means we're actually pretty early in the game and the dark matter fight is still like 5 worlds away. Kirby's just getting the ever-loving hell beaten out of him, but just because he doesn't have a copy ability doesn't mean he's useless in a fight. Just swallow the stars that pop out of his attacks and spit it back at him. It might take a little longer, but you'll get there. So Meta Knight comes back even though I wasn't aware he left, and Tiff's like,
Hey, you're on our side.
Jess, I guess it wasn't obvious by me implying I didn't want the king to know the details about Kirby and wanting to know where the monster is. Genius work, Tiff, #1 detective over here. So it turns out the octopus is the octopus, and Meta Knight somehow intuits that it's taken over DDD's mind, even though I'm pretty sure being a dick to Kirby shouldn't be a shocker at this point in the episode. Then we see the Cappies, who all seem surprised to see the Octomonster again, even though they had pitchforks and torches at the ready. Was this for something? Was this for Kirby because you just can't stand dinner party ruiners, or were you on the way to overthrow the king? And after this, you just forgot to continue with that. So DDD is scared and bad CGs into Escargoon, and DDD is so unreasonably pissed that the monster he ordered is doing the thing he ordered it for. I'm sorry. Am I just repeating myself here, like in my confusion of what exactly DDD wants from this fucking octopus? Because it keeps happening, and every time it comes up, it's just so contradictory. Your octopus is attacking our town. Lol, no he ain't, tee-hee. Hey, why ain't my octopus being a monster? Hey, my octopus is being a monster. This ain't what I paid for. Am I nitpicking? Is this not even worth pointing out? Like, I don't consider myself a reviewer, God no. I'm really more doing, like, kind of a riff show here, but it's like I'm the only one here that's kind of annoyed by the logical inconsistencies in this character's motivations and desires in this 16-year-old anime about a pink orb that slays monsters. Jesus Christ, this anime is 16. So Meta Knight six sword and blade knight onto the octopus, and they just don't even touch the thing. You're doing great, guys. But oh shit, this octopus reproduces like that one species of frog that gives birth out of its back. Then Kirby gets his shit kicked some more, and we're really making a lot of progress, aren't we? Then Didi's excited that the monster is being a monster, and Escargoon even kind of acknowledges my weird hang-up.
Sure, now it's a keeper.
So I guess he only likes it if it's beating up Kirby, except he ordered it before he knew Kirby existed. I'm just gonna stop. Then Kirby turns green, but is cured of being green after he gets his warp star. Sure. And Meta Knight knows about the warp star and tells Tiff that it's the source of Kirby's powers, and I guess because it's a tense situation, but no one asks, hey Meta Knight, how do you know that? How did you know about the warp star? How did you know it's the source of Kirby's power? Do all Star Warriors have this? Do you have a warp star that's the source of your power? Are you and Kirby the same species in this continuity? Is he your son or your clone? Or am I real? So this octopus is just destroying the shit out of Didi's castle, but the scene hasn't changed, so I guess neither is Didi's opinion of the monster, so it's still cool by him. Then Tiff holds up the warp star like it's the heart of Te Fiti, and Kirby eats some of the octopus things. Tiff is surprised by this, but Meta Knight explains that this is Kirby's classic defense, inhale. Why do you know that? Kirby is suddenly really good at fighting because Star, and he eats some of the little ones that are on fire for some reason. And finally, we have the easiest thing to do in the game as our climax, the first showcase of Kirby's copy ability, which of course Meta Knight knows all about. Almost as if him and Kirby are the same species or something, but let's not bother to bring that up ever in the 100 episodes of this show. So, because Kirby's head is on fire now, he can breathe fire too. So Tiff throws the warp star, I guess praying that it gets bigger and starts flying, and hey, it does. So fighting, fire breathing, then the monster that was never in the games is defeated. And Didi's like,
There goes my refund!
ugh. But then salesman is talking to, oh snap, Nightmare from the game this series is promoting, and also Kirby's Adventure, I guess. And they just say Kirby's a Star Warrior, and then the scene ends, and Nightmare doesn't do or say anything important. So they're sending Kirby back into space because they don't want him to leave. He doesn't want to leave. Who's making him leave? He doesn't have anywhere to go. He's got nothing going on. But whatever, Kirby's leaving. Tiff makes more stupid faces. Kirby starts flying off. Then King Dedede and Escargoon, I guess, try to kill him by taking out the ship, despite being the ones who fixed it to send him away. You know, these logical inconsistencies with Dedede make sense in the game, where I think the intent is that he has a weird relationship with Kirby. Usually it's because, like, they're friends, and Dedede's only ever a dick because he's being possessed, and that happens a lot. But this is one goddamn episode of a TV show, and it's never said that he's possessed, and I don't know why I haven't given up on understanding this character's motivations that he doesn't have. So, Kirby's ship crashes, and he has to enlist the help of these sentient carrots to find 30 of his ship parts scattered throughout the land. I mean, he has to stay in Dreamland. His voice changes upon being dubbed some more,
Kirby!
and I'm just gonna end this before my useless nerd rage kills me. There's 100 episodes of this series, and, I'm not done. Saddle up, people.
How can I help you, King Dedede?
I need a monster to claw with that there Kirby.
That's what we do best at NME.
You better get it with a money back guarantee.